Hello everyone, it's Linda Ockwell-Jenner here, co-founder of the Small Business Community Network. And I'm here tonight with another SBCN Small Biz Perspectives. And I have my good friend and successful businessman, Steve Bentley, Northern River Financial, with us again this evening. Hi, Steve.
How are you tonight? It's been a busy day.
It has been a busy day. I've been catching up with a lot of stuff, and I know you've been out of town. And tonight you've got a really good topic for us, haven't you?
Yeah, you know, I reflected on just some things that were happening to us last week, and I know we've talked about the other end where we decide maybe that a client relationship doesn't work for us, but I wanted to take a time to really talk about the forward end before you actually do engage with a client to do work for them, because I think there's a number of things people should do, because there's so many stories, including one I've had this week, where a relationship, before we actually got into it, we decided we didn't want to get into it because we didn't like some of the things that were going to come when we decide, if we decided to go forward with it. So that's why I'll touch on a few points for that tonight.
So basically, choosing your clients, is that what you mean? Not just taking any old client?
Well, yeah, and I think it's more, I mean, you know, when we're early in business, you know, we just want to sort of grab any client we want, right? But when we get established in business, we need to prioritize our time and making sure we're using our time effectively. So what I wanted to sort of talk about is some of the things people should consider before they say yes to accepting that engagement.
Okay, so take it away, Steve. What should we take into account before we accept the engagement?
You know what, you know, the biggest thing, and I don't think enough people take really time to understand this, but everybody in every business has a very specific personality or type. And you're going to walk into meetings and you're going to talk to people who just are the polar opposite, right? Yeah. And so right from the beginning, like we had one this past week where when we started talking to this particular person, he just didn't get it. I mean, we didn't really know what he was looking for. We really didn't know what to suggest. And so when we looked at, do we want to work together? I mean, you got to be serious, because the last thing you want to do is to get into that relationship and then find out that he isn't happy, or you're not delivering, or there's a miscommunication. So really making sure you've got looking at the personality of the person, looking at the business relationship, that you're on the same page. And I think a lot of people need to look at that before really getting serious. That
makes sense, but we don't need to know who the guy was, the client was. But I mean, what didn't this person get? Didn't he get, you know, the kind of help you were going to give him, or what?
Well, you know, I think what he was doing was questioning what we were suggesting.
Oh, okay.
You know, without even knowing us, without even understanding the questions he was looking at, he was doing some of his own research, and we just couldn't get through to him that there's a process and this is the way we do this. And he didn't understand it. So, I mean, if he can't buy into our process or understand the way we approach something right from the beginning, then you sort of say, well, how is this? Because you don't want to make a commitment to somebody, then find out that you're not delivering what they are looking for, and it could be their perception versus what, you know, reality is.
Well, maybe he doesn't need. Maybe he doesn't need somebody like you guys. Maybe he just needs a no. Maybe he needs kind of a do-it-yourself thing. You know what I mean? Where
of course, unfortunately, in this place, it was professional advice involving an accountant and a lawyer with a corporation. So there's some things he really needed to understand.
So I always say this as well, Steve, that everybody's got different personalities, everybody's got different needs, everybody's got different, you know, amounts of money they want to spend on a consultant, whatever, a business. And I certainly can't work with everybody. So what is the solution? I mean, I guess you spent quite some time with this client and decided he wasn't for you or she wasn't for you. So time is money, you know, time is money. So how do we get around this?
Well, I think that point is time is money. One of the things I learned and really bring forward to a lot of people is you only have so much time to do whatever you do for your clients, right? So if you get into a relationship where you know before you even get into it that that person is going to take a lot of time and really you're not going to get, you know, significant revenue to cover your time, there's other people you can be working for and being more supportive, providing. But I think the piece is, you know, when we look at trying to establish that relationship, is really getting down and actually setting it out on paper to some degree, you know, because making sure their understanding and what they're looking for is compatible to what you're saying you're going to offer. So that's another important tool, is to really, you know, if you get to that point, making sure that you're on the same page, excuse the pun, but, you know, with respect to this is what we're going to do and this is what you agreed for us to do, and making sure it's in writing.
So did you actually refer this person to someone else? I mean, does he have to find someone on his own? Has he got someone in mind?
Well, in that case, yes, we had started the referral process, but before we actually got to the introduction stage with each of these people, I stopped it because I was getting some feedback from him that either he wasn't ready or he really didn't understand, although we'd explained it several times.
Okay.
This is the way we need to proceed. And
but, I mean, could you refer him to someone else if you didn't suit his needs? Even though he didn't suit your needs, it's nice to kind of send them somewhere else. Or did he have somewhere else, to...
I think the bigger problem in this case, he didn't really know what he needed. So it's hard to make that kind of referral, right?
That's a problem.
I mean, if he says, I agree with what you're saying, but we just can't work, or we're not compatible.
That's a problem.
Absolutely, I'd make an introduction. I've done that many, many times, but I'm not in a position to refer somebody when he doesn't even know what he needs. And that's the problem. Until you meet with some of these professionals, you really don't know what you need. So you're not going to make a recommendation to somebody unless he really has a clear understanding of what he's looking for. It's a difficult situation.
It's a little bit like doctors, really. I love my doctor, my family doctor. She's amazing. I hear other people say, oh, my doctor doesn't listen to me. I wish I could find another one. But then again, is it down to the doctor that person's already got, or is it down to, like, the doctor not caring? And it's the same in business as well. Like, I know I don't suit everybody's needs. A lot of people, don't want to take me on and engage me for whatever. So basically, it's a two-way thing, isn't it? So where are we taking this, Steve? We know that, we're not going to be able to take care of all of our clients, but where is this leading us?
Well, I think ultimately there's going to be some clients that you never do work for. You get into the conversation stage, and I guess that's the primary point I'm trying to make, is you need to be confident that relationship is going to work, and because you're looking at your professional credibility, right? So if you do something for somebody and they say, well, that's not what I asked for, and as you know, in our world of social media, it's so easy to get a bad referral or a bad connection, right? Yeah. In a lot of cases, it's miscommunication. It's we have to listen and actively listen to make sure we understand what the client's looking for. We hope they're doing the same thing, but we can't say necessarily whether they are or not, right? No. So I think that if you can't get past that, you have a real challenge.
Just out of curiosity, where did you find this client from, or did they find you?
He was a referral.
He was referred. So somebody's actually referred someone to you, not knowing, like you're anticipating, you don't want to refer this person to somebody else because you've anticipated is not a good referral. But somebody didn't realise this when they referred the person to you. So it's like, it's more than just you, Steve. It's like all these other people are in the equation. So does that mean we have to know you well and your organisation well and know how you work so we can refer you?
It's important. And I talk about it in the way of centers of influence, right? I have a lot of people I refer people to, but I want to make sure that I know how they work, and I've worked with them a long time. Before I make that referral, I'm going to be conscious to whether I feel they're going to be able to work together, because, again, what can happen is if you make that referral, or somebody made a referral to me, maybe they didn't put as much thought into the compatibility or whether we could deliver. Yeah. And then you put something in front of somebody else, and there's a relationship issue. It comes back to you, right? You always want to make sure your centers of influence are treating your clients like you would treat your clients. So I think it can be very difficult.
So do you have any tips for us, so that, people watching us can say, well, I've learned from Steve and what Steve suggested was. What do you suggest, Steve?
The thing is, as much as I like to think of in a business for many years, and I've walked and gone through a lot of thousands of conversations, there's always one like this that comes up and sort of says, whoa, you thought your methods and the way you did things were the way gives you the information you need to be able to make this decision. Well, it wasn't initially, but it was later into that conversation process with that. So what I suggest to people is they really need to have that upfront, frank conversation with a potential prospect. You need to gauge it, not only in terms of whether you can deliver what they're looking for, if they know what they're looking for, but also that they're going to receive what you can put forward, because not everybody does things the way some people would like to. So that initial conversation to really get clear as to the expectations on both sides, and then starting and continuing that process.
It's a good conversation, though, because now you're reminding me of something that happened to me. So I went to a networking event just over a month ago, and it was a financial organisation, and they were giving ideas on how, if they were in our financial organisation, what our people should be doing for us, how often they should be contacting us and offering us tips and stuff like that. And it made me think, one thing this organisation didn't do at the networking event, they would say, come to us, we're the best. They weren't trying to steal us, they were trying to give us some ideas. And I've been with my financial organisation now for many, many, many years, ever since I've been in Canada. And I started thinking it had changed over time, and we weren't getting the help and the support. And I mentioned it to my lovely husband and business partner, Dave, and he's a different person to me. And he goes, no, I'm okay, I don't want that kind of help. I go, well, I do. So funnily enough, we did have a visit to the bank for, financial purposes. And we had the most amazing chat with this young lady who's now looking after us, and she apologised that I should feel like that and I've been left behind a bit. And she promised to make it better for us in the future. But we're a couple, and my husband isn't at all interested in any of that, but I am. So she took into account my needs as well as my husband's. And I wouldn't have known this if I hadn't have been to a networking event. So again, networking events are a great way to find out these kinds of things, aren't they? And to talk to people like you and me and say, well, you just never know.
I think there's a couple things we could do future podcasts in respect to what you just said there. But how many people have longer term relationships with, as clients, and then they don't hear from that person.
Yep.
Or that person leaves and they don't even know that they've left, right?
Yeah.
So that's a whole other issue in terms of keeping in touch with your clients. But looking at the suitability and looking at both your needs as independent. That's important. I mean, you've got, Dave's needs, your needs, and then looking at it from a couple perspective as opposed to just saying there's only one set of needs. So that was a great approach.
I like the fact that she was talking to two different people and taking into account our two different needs, which to me was very important. So, but no, that's a really good topic, for another one, Steve, talking about loyalty when you're a long-term customer. But sadly, Steve, we do have to wrap this up soon. But before I do, have you been eating a lot of fish?
Yeah, okay, so I was away for 5 days fishing, and I was in London today, so I'm actually a little tired tonight. But we actually had a lot of success with fish, and I think you might have seen one on Facebook, and no, it didn't come from a supermarket. But we had a really good time.
The fish had a face, and that's funny because it was on Facebook. I will not eat anything with a face. So you had to cook your own.
Well, don't eat. Yeah, well, we do. We have to prepare it, obviously. So there's a little behind the things, and so it's not just it shows up on your plate. Well, you have to go through that process.
I'm really glad you had that time away because you're a workaholic like me, and we all need to get away. And you were on an aluminium boat and not a canoe. See, I remembered.
Aluminum. And you know what? It was so hot, 30 degrees out, and we're in a metal boat. So, it was like baking,
What can I say, Steve? Why go on a metal boat anyhow? But anyhow.
Well, it's not my choice, but, that's the way we have to fish.
You brought up a wonderful subject, and I think we should all take heed as the client or as the, the person they want to work with, that we may not suit each other's needs. So thanks again, Steve. It's been nice chatting, and we'll be back next week with another SBCN Small Biz podcast.
Take care, Linda.